Chaleos and Ton Bettis from the KSL Greenhouse with you this morning. We are with Andy Stevenson from J&J Garden Center, and we want to talk about geraniums for a few minutes. They are so beautiful. They are so beautiful all season. Ton, start out and first of all, just tell us best way to take care of these.
Geraniums are really easy to maintain. They want full sun, so any minimum of 6 hours of sunlight a day. And then one of the keys to growing them includes fertilization and also watering. And so if you have the geraniums in a pot, you find a pot that you think is big enough and you almost want to double the size, because a lot of times the geraniums and other plants diminish due to a lack of root space later in the summer. And so if you have a pot big enough, that's going to be key to keeping them healthy and keeping them blooming. The fertilization we talked about earlier, the Miracle-Gro type fertilizers or Osmocote type fertilizers, make sure and keep up on those, because if they get in pots, a lack of nutrition is really hard to get them to bounce back, especially in July and August. So those are going to be critical to keep up on. And the other thing with geraniums is deadheading, to where you want to cut those flowers off once they're spent, because that'll cause the plant to send out a lot more flower buds.
Andy, how do people decide, seed or zonal geraniums?
Well, the number one, the difference is you take a seed geranium, they're grown from seed. That's where they get their name from. Seed geraniums have been around forever. Zonal geraniums are done from a cutting. So they take a mother plant, they take cuttings off and stick those. With zonals, zonals tend to be a bigger plant, but the flower heads are usually larger and usually the colors are more vibrant. But I will say they've taken a lot of steps through genetics and whatnot. These seed geraniums, the ones that are right behind us, they've done a lot better job. The series that we use is called the Maverick series, and they have gone in and the colors are more vibrant. Just remember, the flower heads tend to be a little bit smaller. Is about your only difference.
Let's take a look at these. And other than that, I mean, you have just tons of colors to choose from.
So there's oranges and the salmons and the whites. The traditional red is still the most popular, red geraniums. But they've got into some hot pinks, and they've also come out with a lot of these, what they call a bicolor. So the tops are different shades and blends of two different colors, like whites and pinks and stuff like that.
So are we still coming out with new colors, new varieties?
There's always new fun stuff, like orange. A pure orange has not been around for a long time. So yes, there's always something new and fresh. Sometimes not every year when it comes to the geranium world, but usually every other year. Or they'll come out with, like, especially in the zonal geraniums, they've come out with a whole new series. So you'll get, all of a sudden one year you'll get 6 brand new colors in a new series.
So Ton, how important is it when people are planting using pots to make sure they change out the potting soil?
It's critical to change that potting soil out, especially if they're smaller pots. Just change it out every year. The potting soil actually breaks down, it decomposes, because there's a lot of organic matter, and it loses quality every year that you save it. And so if you can afford it, the general policy is to replace it annually, but at least every other year if they're larger containers.
Okay, so I've put in the premium potting soil. It already has some fertilizer in it, but that's not enough. I need to continue to fertilize them.
You do. The Osmocote style fertilizers, you can get away with maybe fertilizing a couple of times a season, but even if it says like 6-month release, that's tested in a laboratory at 70 degrees with really even watering, and those can peter out pretty fast. And so even on a 6-month feed, I will fertilize probably every 6 to 8 weeks with it to keep those nutrient levels up. It won't over-fertilize them, but it'll just keep them blossoming really well.
Right. One of the big benefits of geraniums is they can take that full, hot summer sun.
All day long. But also realize too, is that they can take eastern exposure or a western exposure where they get half or half. I've seen them do really well there too. There's another variety of geraniums we haven't even talked about, and that's the ivy geraniums. And those are the ones that they put in baskets. There's another one that's in the perennial family that's some other geranium types. So these things are hardy. They can go through a lot of different conditions. They'll take a little bit of cold. They don't like that cold, but they'll take some. So there's a benefit there. But yes, they'll take that hot sun, give them all day long. They don't care.
But they still need good watering.
They do.
Yep.
They're not incredibly drought hardy, but if you are in a flower bed, So in native soil, once you get those established, a couple times a week, 6 inches deep is sufficient. In the pots, you may be watering those daily, sometimes twice daily, depending on how hot it is.
All right. Join us for more great greenhouse tips Saturday mornings from 8 to 11.